School's in, a new year, a fresh start. New teacher, new homeroom, right? New year, sure. Fresh start, well, kind of. How about mom and dad teaching you in your room? With ever expanding options in life, people look for alternatives to everything. Education is no exception. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, more and more parents in America have chosen to homeschool their children opposed to conventional public or private schooling. Having three young children, my wife and I have looked extensively at educational options. I have researched the pros and cons for public, private, and homeschooling since my oldest boy started his education 3 years ago. In this speech, I will outline the legalities of homeschooling, the different kinds of homeschooling options, and the results that homeschooling achieves. First, I'll talk about the legal requirements to homeschool your child. In Kentucky, the Department of Education Homeschool Information Pact online lists what a parent must do to be recognized as homeschooling their child. Children between the ages of 5 and 18 must be enrolled in a legally recognized form of school. Also, a letter of intent to homeschool must be sent to the superintendent of the public school district in which the student lives. The letter must be written by the parent of the prospective homeschool child and arrive 10 days before the start of the public school year. Finally, the government will require a total of 1,062 documented instructional hours with a curriculum that includes spelling, reading, writing, grammar, math, history, science, and civics. If these requirements are not met, a child is also not attending public or private school, the child is considered truant, and the parent will be held liable. If the child is actually going to homeschool, there are a variety of options when deciding how or what they will be taught. According to Koonsman and Gaither, there are two main approaches to homeschooling: classical and unschooling. The classical mirrors traditional public schooling by using structured instructional time and routine work. According to Jennifer Toms, a Beckett Academy is one of the many prepackaged options available to parents who prefer a classical approach to homeschooling. Unschooling, on the other hand, uses flexibility, real-world experience, and child learning to achieve goals set by the parent and child team. Finally, we will discuss the possible results from schooling options listed. Also, according to Koonsman and Gaither, there is not a significant difference in scoring on standardized tests between types of schools as long as the parents are highly involved. However, homeschooling may give more of a spread of achievement, producing very low scoring students as well as students who score well above average. One may be led to believe that public schools are much better teaching toward the average instead of encouraging extremely high or low achievement. However, the low achievement student in a homeschool setting may also be exploiting what is called a dropout loophole. As you can see, there's a large jump of students transferring to homeschool in Kentucky during the high school years, most often attributed to the fact that those students are already in danger of not graduating, so instead of dropping out, they transfer to homeschool to finish their education. Most times, this is just a way for students to quit their studies and to pursue a life in the workforce. Another reason for large jump in numbers may be occurring at this age is because of an increase in concerns with the environment of schooling or just bullying, in which is why over 90% of parents state that choosing homeschooling is the number one reason in the first place. Conversely, this specific opportunity for socialization is why people who would normally homeschool their children choose to send them to public schools to avoid the weird homeschooled kid stereotype. According to Koonsman and Gaither, however, the data is so varied and conflicting regarding socialization of homeschoolers it is nearly impossible to draw a solid conclusion. This is especially true because the only real way to get information on social well-being is for homeschooled themselves to report their own biased opinion, which there, of course, will be more positively than is in reality. The self-reporting bias is also a factor when reporting physical health, and homeschoolers. Both a sedentary lifestyle and undetected parental abuse are both at increased risk with homeschool children. Since there is not a group of students to have physical education with, and there are no outside adults to have a watchful eye for signs of physical abuse, the health of a homeschool child is at risk, at even greater risk than those who are in public schools. Although there are some possible drawbacks to homeschooling, for some American families, there are so many more positives. So today I discussed the legalities of homeschooling. Then I spoke about the different kinds of homeschooling options. Finally, I talked about the possible results that homeschooling can achieve. Whether in a classroom or in the living room, parental involvement is key. With this in mind, it is important to consider all of your options. Prepare and commit to your education regardless of where you physically attend school, be it in your home or in your classroom.